Good day, everybody. Sebastian Gaines here with another Watcher of Rome's video. I do apologize if my voice sounds a little bit different. I've been under the weather here in the last couple of days. It does look like I have missed the last couple of days in regards to the Immortal Codex, and then I finally was able to at least play around with the Lord of Styx. And I was surprised to find out that they left the difficulty the same that we had originally seen in the Forerunner server. So most of the players in my cluster that do play in the Forerunner servers, we kind of had an idea of what would it take to do the damage that you were going to need to even get into the S ranking. And at least from what I'm seeing right now, at least in the current ones, here I only see 5 people that got the triple S, which is it speaks to the difficulty and the specificity of the champions that you need to beat this content, or at least get a high score in it, right? And I think I even scrolled up all the way down to the bottom, and not a lot of SSs, a lot of S pluses, so which is good, but not a lot of S's. So I have seen in the Forerunner servers we only have 3 triple S's today. So yeah, so they kept it the same. They kept the shield sizes the same. They kind of fooled you a little bit with the easy mode, and then they throw this at you, and you saw how intense the shield sizes were and what you needed to really bring it down. But it was evident that the key players here that came into play were Sadie, number 1, Elowen for the healing, the regeneration effect, King Hearts, if you had him, at least awaken at least one time, came into play. That could be one of the strategies that you could use to make sure that he put the shield on before one of the slams. You could alternate them with Sadie to protect with her ultimate on the next one, and you go back and forth, and then you try to build your heroes so you can time the ultimates when the shields were down. That's the optimal, right? So I just kind of started looking around, and I looked at my roster, and I just tried to put something together. And I did try 2 teams, but I could only get to the A ranking. So you can see that I was messing around a lot with it. You can see here I have one run where I did use Theodore or Torador with a lot of the Nightmare Council heroes, Valoraya, Salazar. I did put in my Silas in here. Others have used Silas, or I put my Silas in. Others have used Cetrum, so you can probably use them. But essentially, the strategy I was trying to use was the double shield. I was trying to play with Gwendolyn there for a while. In her kit, it says that she will place the shield on everybody, but there were situations where I didn't see a shield on anybody, and her shields are supposed to last 10 seconds, and what I was seeing on the runs that I was seeing, it wasn't lasting 10 seconds, so it was very RNG. So I just decided to bring in Vortex, because with the extra healing, he'll put a shield on you, and then you put that artifact that adds a shield on top of it. You're just covering your bases. So I was doing a lot of trials there. You can see that was one. And the one that I essentially settled on here was the one with Rasha and Silas, Sadie, Valoraya. That got me to 70,000, which is about the same as I did with the Torador composition. So if let me see if it lets me out of this. I might have changed gears since I did the run, but essentially what you can see here, you put the ally or your hero that has extension on the fighter, put him here in the back. I put Sadie here, Valoraya, and Silas here, and Salazar, and then Vortex facing this way to make sure that he can cover Silas. And essentially, I'm not gonna go through the whole run, but I was just trying to time this so you saw the ultimate there activated right before the slam. So that's part 1 of the strategy, and then came in the second one, where I was actually using Vortex's ultimate right before the slam there, which it didn't happen there. That's what happens when you auto things. It don't occur like you meant them to happen. But here, let me see if I can. Let me do one run. Let me make sure I didn't change too much gear. I did. So let me fix that quick, and then I'll be right back. So yeah, I was just I did switch things around when I started to do my daily. So I put the gear back on Aracha that I originally wanted to put on her, and just to give you an idea on the builds, and you probably have seen this, is that you really want a lot of attack speed and as much damage as you can. So I boosted up to 345 on her. Same thing with Silas. Tried to get as much attack speed and kept the damage stats as much as possible. So he's at 421. And let's see, Salazar, I did put him in an ageless set, and I only got him to 294. And then, of course, with Toreador, I could give him the extra bonus. With Vortex here, he is in an Asclepius set with a Life Force set, and he has again the artifact that I was mentioning before, the North Glory. Gives him a shield if you have excess healing, just to be safe. Sadie here has the Orphotic Orb, just to give an extra attack speed to the allies that are adjacent to her. And of course, Valeria in a damage set. So here I have an Infernal Roar, not a whole lot of speed on it because I wanted to get the damage stats on her, so it's only 320. Many of the builds for the top getters, they're getting to ridiculous speed, 400, 500. And they're still able to keep some damage there. Same thing with Sadie. Some only brought Sadie in as their only protection mechanism. But the thing was that the way that they made sure that her rage regeneration was ready for the next slam is that they added like 600 speed to her, just so she gets that rage build up, and she could go. So let me try this now on normal. So I need to put in Sadie down right away so she can build her rage. So now I'm just putting people down. There we go. So just to give you an example of how I tackled this, and how I tried to make sure that I didn't die, and I lasted as long as I could. So here's the special demise, the spectral demise, excuse me, that he's building up. The first one here should be Sadie that comes up, and I'm gonna cut it close, but I'm just gonna activate it now, just so she has a chance to build it. And so you saw her ultimate is key to this, right? She's just so good at protecting you and reducing the damage that you need. So let me get this down, try to get the boss down as quickly as possible. And I don't want to waste Silas's ultimate too much. I gotta go now because I can see it here at 1. So that's kind of the idea, just the idea on the run, and how I've been trying to tackle this, trying to optimize the ultimates and stuff like that. But I really wanted to make sure that Silas was ready with his ultimates as frequently as possible. I could have tried to push his rage regeneration a little bit. Looks to be about 40%. That would have done it. So at about this stage here, I'm gonna activate Vortex's shield with that extra healing. Luckily, everybody survived. Now I usually keep an eye on Valeria to make sure her HP does increase enough for me to then activate her ultimate, since her ultimate will consume her HP. So she has time now to do as many hits as possible, and then at the same time give her enough of a chance to heal again, so she can she can survive the next slam. So again, I'm going to activate it now, since it takes her a while. Now everybody's protected. Now let me activate these ultimates and they can go. So that's kind of the general idea, right, as to how things played out for me, and what I was able to do in the minimal amount of time that I had to try to at least tackle and get some rewards out of it. I wasn't going to go too gangbuster on it, especially knowing the difficulty that they were going to really knowing that it could be difficult. I did not know that they were going to keep it the same difficulty level, even though those of us that played it in the Forerunners, we kind of suggested, hey, these shield sizes are a little bit big, but I think that they were determined to make sure that you know, you had to use a particular set of heroes for this, just like the other two, right? So that's pretty much what it took and what I got. So let me we'll just cut over to the last portion at the end, and then we'll discuss the Immortal Codex as a whole and how things went. All right, so here we are at the end of it, just doing the last bit of damage, and for this run here I got a B+, so I didn't really time the ultimates as well as I could have. I just wanted to get it run down with, but at least in this regard, having all these different heroes and trying to play around with, Ane is what's gonna probably be the best, unless I decide to really try to improve the gear and try to get a little bit more damage from the heroes that I do currently have. So but yep, it turned out to be exactly like we expected it to. Not a lot of players were going to reach the triple S scale, and if they did, it's because number one, they had the heroes, and number two, they probably did have the gear to try to combat this at a point. So with the whole thing as a whole, I think it was really entertaining. It allows us to, you know, use heroes that we don't typically use at some points, right? So if you had a lean, she finally was good for something. With the second boss, the Titan boss, Sadie, you saw her very phenomenal in this one. There were some teams that I know had Calypso that could get us into A, so Calypso came into play as well. The higher awakening she had, the better she would do at this. But you saw that based now on the heroes that have been released here in the global server, that Constance, Sadie, King Hearts with the majors players, and if you had a Raja, that could also help. Elder, somebody did here, used Elder with Hollow, and they didn't even have their Hollow through fully max, so they're just using her for the regen. So yeah. Unfortunately, we're not going to see a lot of variety. Somebody did use Wrath here to try to boost this too, so that worked out well for that person. So yeah, unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot of mini-coms. I did see, you know, players that were depending on LON with Sadie and Vortex with Sadie. So those are kind of the comps. The people could form around at least to survive the slams, right? If you're not worried about breaking the shield. Well, there we have it, folks. That is the Eerie Styx, the Lord of Styx here, in terms of trying to combat him and how to tackle him and trying to get the best possible rewards from. So we'll get at least one more day, I think, of this, and then it'll be done. And then we move on to the next team. So I hope you guys let me know if you did enjoy the content. I would like to pass that feedback along, especially with the Conqueror, the Titan, now the Lord of Styx. And you know, what did you think of this event as a whole to close out the year? And I think it was, I found it fun because at least with my first interaction with it in the Forerunner server, I knew kind of the ideas that I had to try to combat this when it came to the global server, and I knew that my roster was a little bit more developed here in the public server. So kind of especially with the Conqueror, that was my first goal, to try to get the best that I could out of it, because in the Forerunners account, my fighters were limited at the time, so I wanted to see what I could do in my account. So, and that'll do it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching. Do the YouTube stuff, hit like and subscribe. It does help grow the channel. I am in a mission to get 500 subscribers, and I will see you all next time in the next Watch Your Worms video.
Defeat won't define me.